Hello, welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to consider cross-site request forgery, which is also known to be CSRF. Cross-site request forgery shows how trust in logged-in sessions can be abused, and having a good understanding of CSRF helps explain why users can cause damage without realizing they did anything wrong. So let's get right into it. So what's the essence? Like, why can we say CSRF matters? CSRF attacks are dangerous because they abuse normal behavior. And I think because of this, there's a need to place some level of importance on this attack. Aside from that, they exploit trust in logged in users, they use valid active sessions, no malware is required for the attack, and serious damage can happen silently. So what is cross-site request forgery or CSRF? CSRF abuses authentication rather than breaking into systems. It is a web attack that abuses authenticated sessions. It tricks a logged in user into sending requests, and the requests are going to look legitimate to the server, and the user does not realize an action is occurring in the background. So let's consider an example to make this CSRF easier to understand. Let's say you are logged in into your bank account and you probably visited another website and you saw a link there. You decided to click on the link. And after clicking on the link, you just realized that, oh, a transfer request is sent automatically and you never knew who sent that. And the bank trusts the request because you are logged in. So they saw it to be something valid. That is just a typical example of CSRF. Let's now consider how it works. In general, CSRF relies on session persistence. It happens like this. A user logs into a trusted website, the session remains active, and maybe after that the user visits a malicious web page, then a hidden request is sent to the trusted site. As the server might handle it as though the request is coming from the legitimate user. Why does CSRF work? CSRF works because of how browsers and servers behave. Yes, browsers automatically send cookies, servers trust authenticated sessions, and no additional confirmation is required. And after that, actions happen silently in the background. Attackers who use CSRF target actions that change state. They target password changes. These are even one of their common targets. They can also abuse email address updates. They can trigger fund transfers, and they can modify account settings. Let's now consider cross-site request forgery versus cross-site scripting. That is CSRF versus XSS. CSRF and XSS are different but related attacks because CSRF tricks users into sending requests and XSS runs malicious scripts in the browser. Also, CSRF does not require script injection, and to cap it off, both attacks abuse user trust. What can attackers do with CSRF? CSRF allows attackers to act through users. They can change account details, they can perform financial actions, they can trigger administrative operations, and they can cause data loss or misuse. Let's now consider CSRF in alignment with the CIA triad. CSRF primarily affects one security principle, and that is integrity. Integrity is broken by unwanted actions. Confidentiality may slightly be affected, maybe indirectly. Availability is usually not the target. Integrity is their main concern. Let's look at the impact of CSRF in real world. CSRF leads to real consequences, such as unauthorized transactions that may occur, account configurations that can be altered, privileges may be misused, and user trust can be lost. Why is CSRF so hard to notice? CSRF often goes unnoticed for long periods of time. And why? Because the action looks legitimate. There are no obvious alerts or errors. Real user credentials are used for this attack, and discovery often happens very late because of how legitimate this looks. You already know that there's no way we talk about an attack without talking about the basic prevention methods. So how can we prevent CSRF? CSRF is preventable with proper design. So when you are building your application, ensure that you are using CSRF token, ensure that you require reauthentication for sensitive actions, ensure you also apply SameSite cookie settings, and always validate request origins. So what are the secure design practices that we can use to prevent CSRF? Preventing CSRF starts at the design time, as I mentioned earlier. So you must not rely on only cookies, always confirm sensitive actions, design systems around user intent, not just around just any idea. Assume users will click on no links. So it's just a way of assuming that a breach can happen. As I always say, as a cybersecurity professional, one question you must always ask yourself is, what is the worst case scenario? What's the worst thing that can happen? So when you're designing an application, you must always think about that. So what's the worst case scenario, or what's the worst thing that can happen, so that you'll be able to prevent that. In this lesson, we've learned how CSRF turns trust into a weakness. We have seen that CSRF abuses trust in logged-in sessions. We have seen that users unknowingly become part of the attack. We have seen that integrity is the primary target, and that prevention is simple when planned early. So let's take a test together. The question is, what best explains how cross-site request forgery, that is CSRF attacks, work? Pause the video, read through the options, drop your answer in the comments as usual, then come back to play the video. So what's the correct answer? The correct answer is CSRF exploits logged-in user sessions by tricking users into sending unwanted but trusted requests without realizing it. That's all for this lesson. If you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do that now. And do not forget to like, share, and comment. I would love to see that. Thank you so much. See you in the next lesson.